Kareem Biggs, who is one-third founder of Rockefeller Records, baby brother Jamal Clay, also known as OVO Mal, and more recently, Hot Pockets, thanks to the incredible Deleted, has decided to give up his Rockefeller chain back to his Uncle Jay in exchange for his OVO chain, losing his hip-hop morals that he was raised on by some of the greatest architects of hip-hop. And ever since Mal's transition like Bruce Jenner, nothing was the same for Jamal Clay.
What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Who has now officially been heartbroken by the battle between King of Hip-Hop Kendrick Lamar versus hip-hop's greatest cosplayer with blackface and sweetest pastry, Drizzle Cake, also known as Drake, leaving OVO Malaya.
Read the post, man.
And his heart so broken that even Tony Braxton couldn't fix it.
Unbreak my heart, love me again. Still cry so many nights.
And I'm sorry, OVO Mal, but Drizzle Pie never loved you in the first place, no matter how much you kiss his ass and pop ass with him, because you both like to be in competition, not with each other, but with your women. Because on the latest episode of their podcast, episode 339, Fenty Felons, Rory, the only A-Mic of the show, reluctantly brings up the announcement of Kendrick Lamar inviting SZA as a guest performer for his Super Bowl halftime show, with Mal fake smiling, holding in his breath like how he holds in those back shots for his certified lover cake.
Yo, that's crazy.
Because after Rory is trying to break the ice with his compromised co-host talking about the potential set list of Kendrick and SZA, the Jason Whitlock of hip-hop podcasting could not hold back his buffoonery any longer.
Is this not a cheat code, though? Can we just be like, cause y'all gonna paint me as this hater?
Do I think Kendrick Lamar could have done the Super Bowl halftime by himself? Absolutely.
Because in OVO Mal's 69 mind, he thinks that when they were doing rehearsals, the NFL and Roger Goodell said, no, Kendrick, you're not enough.
All right, man. Did that load get a little heavy at them rehearsals and you start looking at that set list?
No. I'm not.
I'm
Even
just
if the cameras
saying.
is off, I'm not letting you do that.
Because I'm getting my shit off.
After they clearly said he was enough by giving him the Super Bowl halftime show in the first place without SZA's name ever being considered for a guest appearance. And you might be saying, well, maybe Jason Whitlock Jr. feels this way about Kendrick, that he doesn't have enough music in his discography to entertain grown men who should be focused on the football game instead.
You think the football players want to see Kendrick or SZA?
I think the football players will be focused on their halftime adjustments.
This is another day.
Are you serious right now, bro?
Because halftime adjustments for the actual game are not as important as watching SZA twerk her BBL on stage.
Halftime adjustments mean nothing in the Super Bowl.
Nah, man, we don't adjust. You can't change a player's game in a ninth inning. You know that.
Where is Craig's mom where you need her? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But the disdain for Kendrick Lamar and disregarding his discography did not go unnoticed by Rory, where he perfectly reminds his compromised co-host how much he loved Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers concert when they went together back in 2022.
Because when we left that shit at the Barclays Center, Mr. Morale tour, you said, oh my God, Kendrick Lamar put on damn near a Broadway play.
Absolutely.
How could you put on a show like that when you rap that many words in one fucking verse? There's no way I feel like Kendrick Lamar, who has done
Super Bowl.
So as time goes on, it's more clear that Mal is an actual fan of Kendrick Lamar, yet chooses to disrespect Kendrick constantly just to save his one-sided relationship with Drizzle Marie.
My auntie is a man now, is not ringing off at the Super Bowl.
Damn, Mal, not you too. With your hands on your knees, and you best believe that OVO Mal's doing it for free. At this point, with the podcast being in limbo, I really think it's time for Rory to let it go and put all of Mal's belongings in boxes
To the left.
before he gets boxed in, just like Mal is with Ray Vaughn.
I treat Mar like orders from Timu. You'll get boxed bad.
Showing that he gives no fucks about anybody else but his own 69 mind and opinion when it comes to Drizzle Cake, who clearly destroyed hip-hop, yet he wants to be mad at LiAngelo Ball, swerving and bending that corner. I think it's time for Mal. So here is why, in my honest opinion, Rory needs to move on from the new Rory Mal podcast and form his own podcast in 2025. Mal ruining Rorys reputation as a podcaster. Rory over the years has clearly shown an interest and love for podcasting compared to his co-host, leaving Rory to be left up cleaning the mess from his OVO co-host, where it seems more that Mal could care less about how he's making Rory look, not only to the podcasting world, but to their own fans of their show, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, their Patreon, more specifically YouTube, where Rory got called out by a very popular Deleted for putting a copyright strike on his popular Mal is a Hot Pocket video, clearly showing that they're all sensitive and in their pajama clothes. I guess it makes sense that they're the OVO hip hop podcast. That payroll must be in too deep like The Vision, where they can no longer let's say that they have somewhat of a good friendship. Keep the friendship, but think about the business. The way that Mal allows his one-sided relationship with his certified lover cake, Drake, to affect his own podcasting abilities makes me feel, in my honest opinion, that Mal will never deliver the same type of loyalty that Rory has been giving him for the last year. And yes, I clearly understand that Mal essentially chose Rory over Joe back in 2021 when they decided to leave that show and make their own podcast together. But it wasn't like Mal wasn't motivated or ready to go with Rory, who he didn't really have a close friendship with outside of the old JBP to begin with. But again, when you're having a huge fallout with your ex-best friend for almost 20 years, and Mal was at that point where whether he was going to go with Rory or not, he was going to leave Joe and the Joe Budden podcast with or without Rory. Everybody knew how Mal felt, where he felt Joe Budden had no morals or cared about his friendship, even calling out Joe for not having any respect for his friends on their last episode of the JBP together. Now you look almost 5 years later, and it shows that Mal is a lot more similar to his ex-best friend, more than he likes to believe he's not. Because I'm sorry, OVO Mal, you cannot be a man of morals when you defend a certified man-child who has had clear evidence of videos kissing and rubbing up on a 17-year-old, also hugging up with a 16-year-old at the time who is the daughter of Jimmy Jam, part of the infamous Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis duo, one of the most known producers for the SOS Band and Janet Jackson, and with Drizzle Cake's track record at Sierra Canyon High School girl basketball games, to flying all the way to Australia to meet up with Millie Bobby Brown to give her boy advice at 13 years old.
I met him in Australia and he's honestly so fantastic. Just texted each other the other day and he was like, I miss you so much. I was like, I miss you more. He's coming to Atlanta.
I'm sorry, you're not a man of morals, no matter how much you like to play no face to all of us that used to look up to you as a hip-hop podcaster, where we all felt that you were really a part of the culture, because we all thought being the baby brother of one of the most profound hip-hop figures, Kareem Biggs, was enough. But clearly you're affected by it because you had your own co-host copyright strike another channel because they were hurting your widow feelings. But how do you think the underage girls were feeling when Drizzle Cake was allegedly grooming them and finding out years later what he was doing to them? Allegedly, I guess, but you can look at YouTube. I mean, it ain't that hard to find. Like Tupac, Be Legit, and E4. Go.
Bring your big bad ass to California, 'cause we ain't hard to find.
I'm not laughing at the alleged PDF. I'm laughing that Mal really got to this point where he's a joke in hip hop, just like Drizzle Cake's shirt. I guess it all makes sense.
Damn.
My final thoughts. As I stated 6 months ago on my own video going over how Rory and Mal lost hip-hop credibility, it's safe to say that Jamal Clay is the actual suspect in the downfall of his own podcast, excluding his great co-host Rory, who has been taking a step back from his incredible podcasting abilities to pacify all his babies, including his daughter Amara and now OVO Malina. To be completely honest, it makes me sad because I am one of the longest fans of their podcast since the beginning of 2021. They definitely created the best era for the Joe Budden podcast that we'll never see ever again. But even though we have to give Rory and Mal that credit, we have to hold both of them accountable for the show that they're running. But I hold Rory more accountable as one of his biggest fans. He's going to Twitter Spaces with Danny from The Stop, making it clear that we know nothing about podcasting, let alone his own podcast, and we should all stay out of his business.
People love Julian. That's why he was on the pod, because he was great. That's the decision. Not every decision has to be explained to everybody. I'm just so curious, as you guys, the experts that know nothing about what happened, I want you guys to tell me what you would do.
And
Sure.
why wouldn't he?
suggesting that everybody's trying to be the master CEO.
And I know everyone in podcasting and content has to pretend like they're the master CEO. No, I'm learning. I'm still learning. Got this send off that you didn't want, but that's the send off I'm giving y'all. And that's what it's going to be.
Okay.
You would think from the old JBP that Rory and Mal would learn from the mistakes with their former boss, how he discarded them. You now have OVO Mal single-handedly discarding his own podcast members. Maybe Rory and Mal collectively fired Eden, but clearly with Julian, it seems that Mal is the biggest reason why he's gone. Because if Rory is telling Danny from the stop on Twitter Spaces that, yeah, you master CEOs don't know nothing, we're not downsizing, we're actually upsizing, and we're adding more people to the team.
I understand that leaves people to make up bull narratives like we're downsizing, which is insane and hilarious when we're hiring more people. But
Telling me all these new people are going to be more effective for the show than Julian was. At the end of the day, he's going to go further than he's ever been thanks to the firing, especially once he gets a co-host. But it never had to be this way. It could have been a much better approach to have Julian still on the show and not hire a bunch of different people aligned with OVO. It makes me feel that Rory is trying to be loyal and stay loyal to the guy who was never really loyal to him in the first place.
Trust me, you putting it on me, you must be.
More out of resentment for his ex-best friend, Joe Budden. Again, I don't know the ins and outs. Clearly I don't. But I am a CEO for a reason. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been in real estate for 10 years. I own property. I'm not trying to flex like Funk Master Flex because he doesn't even own properties. That man just owns muscle cars, who clearly hates hip hop and the culture that he is a part of, but really doesn't want to be a part of. Similar to Mal. He has a great podcast platform, wants to be a part of the hip hop podcasting world, yet doesn't really want to put in the effort. Like Drizzle Cake said, he get an E for effort.
AB, I got your CD, you get an E for effort.
Thank you so much for watching. Again, Rory, I'm sorry. You know I love you, but I had to do it. But to my subscribers, let me know what your thoughts are about Mal clearly disrespecting Kendrick Lamar again with the SZA guest appearance, making it seem like he needs her. Where again, I'm not trying to discredit SZA, but I don't think SZA would be able to do the show by herself without Kendrick Lamar or another guest appearance with her alongside. His quality over quantity clearly shows with his discography, back to back to back to back, where Drizzle Cake may have one or two classics, where 50% of the albums are written by either Abel or Party Next Door and his White Powder. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, go be amazing and have an amazing rest of your day.